She's good. No. She did it the first take. I mean, it's like most of these people, they'll wait, stop. We got to do it again. She just does it.
Hi, I'm Betsy McAtee, CEO of Dreamland BBQ. We are so fortunate to have James Spann with us from ABC 3340, Chief Meteorologist. And thank you for being here today and coming and just talking and visiting. And I just want to get to know a little bit about you and some of your journey to get to where you are right now.
I'm honored to be here. We're in Dreamland. This is good stuff. I mean, goodness, this is great. This beats a TV studio.
I ain't done it though. We get the sights and the smells.
Oh yeah, it's good. I'm woozy. It's so good.
So this is not your first visit to Dreamland. What was your first Dreamland visit?
So this goes way, way, way back in time. I am originally from Greenville, Alabama, which is a small town between Montgomery and Mobile. This is rural South Alabama. My culture, my accent, everything about me is Butler County, Alabama. Due to family circumstances, we had to move away when I finished fourth grade. It was devastating. My father had abandoned me and my mom, didn't pay a dime of child support, and that in itself was devastating. And then having to move away was just heartbreaking. We had to move to this nasty sounding place called Tuscaloosa. And my mom needed a year to finish her degree and get a job and support us. And we moved into a small apartment about the size of a bathroom, about the size of this bathroom here in Tuscaloosa. And we were low income and we were two strangers in a strange land. We lived right off 10th Street and 13th Avenue, which is now Paul Bryant Drive and Gene Stallings Avenue. But my mom had saved a little money. We didn't have anything. We never ate out. But she said, I heard there's a really good barbecue place where they have the ribs in Jerusalem Heights. I was kind of excited because we just didn't get to eat out much. And so my mom and I went up to Jerusalem Heights and we went to Dreamland BBQ. And we met Mr. John Bishop. And I'll never forget, number one, how good it was so good. And I just was floored at how good those ribs were. But Mr. Bishop was very kind to us. We were two strangers. We didn't know anybody. I was hurting, my mom was hurting, and it was just one of those memories, very fond memories at Tuscaloosa that I will always remember. And we couldn't eat there a lot because of the low income, but as I got a little older and started working, I ate there a lot.
Thank you for sharing that. That is a great story.
And it was good. I'll just put it, it was very good. For a lot of different reasons, it was very good.
That's so heartwarming. One of our core values is respect the foundation and pass it on, which is our ode to Mr. Bishop. And, we still cook our ribs the same way he taught us.
Oh, I know.
Open pit.
I know you do. And that's the thing, is Dreamland has expanded and morphed. The quality hasn't really changed. But I got a great Dreamland story.
Okay.
Ready for? I didn't mean to take. So we have summer interns every year. These are college interns that are majoring in meteorology. They're brilliant. They can derive the vorticity equation. And in the summer of 2000, we had several interns. One was from Valparaiso University in Indiana, which is not too far from Chicago. And we always have a closing lunch for them to thank them for helping us in the summer. We took them to Dreamland in Birmingham.
Okay, awesome.
And this young lady, she was just overwhelmed by the experience. We brought all these ribs, and she's never had it before. And she said, "What do you do now?" And I said, "Well, Ginger, get in there and get it. Just get your hands in there. I mean, just get the meat off the bones. Come on." And she was so timid and so shy, but she finally slowly picked one up and she started to eat it. But she's the chief meteorologist for ABC News in New York now.
Oh, wow.
Her name is Ginger Z.
Ginger Z.
We gave her that name. We didn't like her. Her real name is Ginger Zeitgeist. And we said, "Ginger, that sounds like something that should be surgically removed. We're going to start calling you Ginger Z." And she took that name and ran with it.
Wow.
But we often laugh about the Dreamland lunch, and that was her first experience ever with ribs, and it was a good one.
Thank you for sharing. That is a great story. I like a lot of people and that probably want to know, how do you know every town, every crossroad, every country store? Because when we have a weather event and we're all glued to the TV watching you, you know all this.
Well, part of it is just being here for so long. I came to Birmingham Television in 1979, but you do this for all those years, and I like to drive the roads less traveled, the roads where people live. And these images are in my brain. It's useless information except when the weather is dangerous. And we've learned that people struggle with maps because of phones, which is fine, and they struggle with directions. I could say there's a tornado 14 miles southwest of Clanton. Nobody knows where that is.
Right.
But if you tell them it's at Jim's Pit Barbecue, they know where that is. And it might be a landowner like Jim Bird's farm in Forkland on US 43. Walmarts are great. People know where the Walmarts are. And so it's important to use those landmarks in communicating risk danger to people over television. So that's a benefit of being on the road every day, is learning the geography and the territory and the culture.
So that is fascinating, and I would have never thought about that, but that's a great way to connect the dots for the folks watching at home that may not know the direction.
With the geography skill falling, we have to be better at calling out landmarks and use places that people understand. I got in trouble for one. I didn't get in trouble, but I called out Wesley's Booby Trap.
I knew Wesley.
Now, everybody knows what that is.
Yes.
Listen, if you live in Sayre, Bagley, if you live in Corner, if you live in Dora, if you live in Summit, then if you live in Sipsey, you know where that thing is.
Absolutely.
And it's like, I didn't even think anything of it. And when the coverage is over, everybody, oh man, I can't believe you said that. But the green top burned, and it's like, so anyway, we have to use locations like that to help people understand if they need to do something and take action. And we've learned a lot of this from social scientists. They've helped us. But I know physical science. That's all I know. I don't know anything about social science and human behavior. And after April 27, 2011, they have helped us tremendously, because that day, 252 people died on my watch when the warnings were so good. How did this happen? How did it happen? And they've helped us understand some of the reasoning behind that and helped us to be better in communication and getting people to do something.
So you mentioned the tornadoes at April 27th, which anyone that lived in Alabama during that time was greatly affected. In your career, was that probably the hardest day in terms of what you had to experience?
As a professional, yes. Maybe not in my life, but as a professional, yes. And I worked countless tornado events, horrible tornado tragedies here. And again, going back to the late 70s, but on that day we had 62 tornadoes and 252 fatalities. And these were precious people that died. Precious. Some were infants, some were senior adults, some lived in the city, some lived in the country. It crossed every people group we have in this state. And I think we learned on that day that we're not as good as we think we are. We've got a lot of work to do because the warnings were so good, and yet all these people died. Right. And we learned that day that we've got to integrate social science into physical science and take this interdisciplinary approach to be more successful. But I didn't even talk about it for 6 months. I had nothing to say. I had to go through the phases of grief, anger, depression, because these are my people. And now I look back on it and I've memorized almost every name. I know the stories. I know many of the surviving family members. I was with Ari Hallmark Saturday. Ari is from a small town in Marshall County called Ruth. She was 6 years old. She was with a group of family members, and in that home, her parents were killed, 2 of her grandparents and a cousin, 5 caskets in one family. She just graduated from high school. It is ingrained in my mind, and it's very motivating for me, for us to be better. Now, the next time we have a day like that, 62 tornadoes, I'll be at the cemetery. These days happen about once every 40 years, but all it takes is one. And we've got to be better, even if there's just one. And I think we are today.
Yeah. I've got to ask, what is your go-to meal at Dreamland?
I'll get a slab of ribs. I mean, come on. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't need, I don't need to say anything. I mean, I'll walk in here, just give me something to eat. They'll bring you a slab of ribs, and the banana pudding is, it's really good.
It's good.
I mean, it's that often finds its way back to our house. We'll buy a little extra for that. But no,
Awesome.
it's just, and we raise boys. And let me tell you what, those two boys we have, they will suck down that slab of ribs like that. I mean, the goodness, just keep your arms and legs away from their mouth. But it's just, it's so refreshing to see them having fun in here, because it brings me back to the days of going to see Mr. Bishop in Tuscaloosa back in Jerusalem Heights, and it's kind of the tradition continues. I mean, this is perfection here.
We got your favorite here. You got ribs,
Life
banana
is good.
pudding.
This is good. This is really good.
And of course, you got to have white bread.
You got to, no, and you dip it in the sauce there. Somebody
Yes.
do that. Yes.
So before we dig into these award-winning ribs, tell us about some of the awards you've won, because you've been very successful.
Nobody cares about that. I don't. I've been blessed, and I've won a few things over the years, but I think that's a function mainly of the people I've been around. I try and learn from people that are better than me. And to this day, I will put people around me that are better than me so I can learn from them. And I think that's part of anybody's formula for success. But I guess the first one meant something to me. I was in Dallas for a while. Most people think I've been here the whole time. And basically I have, except for a 2-year hitch in Dallas. I was transferred to Dallas-Fort Worth in the mid-'80s. And they told me on a Friday that you're going to start in Dallas Monday.
Oh, wow.
I thought I was being fired. Normally, when you're called in the front office on a Friday, they're going to fire you. But they said there's a phone call for you, and it was the CEO of the company, and he said, "We love your work. We're going to move you to the largest station we own, which is the CBS channel in Dallas." I went home to tell my wife, and she went into labor that night, and our first child was born the next day, and they still made me go to Dallas Monday.
No way.
It's just like,
Wow.
so the Dallas thing was, and of course, I've never been to Dallas, and I had to learn everything. I mean, my culture is here. It was a great experience. And the first year I was eligible, I won the local Emmy in Dallas, which was just, you tell me one day I'd win an Emmy in Dallas for Best Weathercast, I'd say you're crazy. I'm just some country guy from Greenville. So that meant a lot to me. And beyond that, I've won a few things. I think the ones that mean more to me than anything else are the professional awards from our societies in meteorology. And again, I don't know anything about television. The Emmys are nice, but I won the award for broadcast meteorology, which is an AMS award. That's the American Meteorological Society. That is the professional society of meteorologists globally. And I look back on, and I've looked at the people that have won that award over the years, people like Bob Ryan and all these legends in this business, and thinking, I shouldn't be winning this. This makes no sense. But the AMS meeting was in Austin, Texas, and my wife was there, and it just meant a lot to me. And won the one from the National Weather Association. So I've been blessed. But again, it's a function of the good people around me, not really me.
Well, you have definitely had an impact on a lot of people. I remember with my oldest daughter, you came to visit her school. I think she was in 3rd or 4th grade. And after that, she came home that night and wanted to know what our weather plan was.
Well, good.
Yes.
It worked.
It worked.
Because the school thing, I spend a lot of time doing it. I don't get paid for that. It's just, I'm energized by these kids. And if I didn't do this for a living, I'd teach 3rd grade science. I would teach 3rd grade science all day. But to get them excited about science, some of these kids grow up to be atmospheric scientists. Some of the best atmospheric scientists in the world come from Alabama because of the diversity of weather they experience here. And to get them excited about that. And some people did that for me when I was a kid, and it's the least I can do to return the favor. But on the safety side, even the ones that don't want to get into science, they'll go home and tell their parents, hey, do you have a weather radio? Do you have helmets for everybody in the safe place? And where is the safe place? And it begins with those kids kind of pushing the parents to be better prepared for tornadoes. And if we can get a child to motivate a parent to be better prepared for a tornado, then we've done our job.
Absolutely. So you were broadcasting when your own home was swept by a tornado?
That was a bad day.
What was I can't imagine to be able to hold my composure while
Well,
that's going on.
I knew my wife was okay. She was home alone. We're empty nesters. And so we have a tornado shelter designed to withstand an EF5 tornado. And I texted her and she immediately, I said, shelter now, now. And immediately she texted back, I'm there, just those 2 words. So I had that level of comfort, knowing that she's gonna be fine no matter what happens, but you're still human. Do you have a house? Will this poor woman walk out of this tornado shelter and look up and see blue sky? And it was the distraction of a lifetime. And you can't leave in the middle of a battle. This is a battle you're fighting here.
Right.
You've got to be coherent. You've got to be concise and clear. And because it didn't stop there. It killed 6 people in Ohatchee. And by the grace of God, nobody died here because they heard the warning, they got into a safe place, and they responded. But Pam Huff, our news anchor, was on the phone with her the whole time because mainly she needed to know when do I come out of here.
Oh, yeah.
And so Pam helped her, and then our general manager, he was doing this. I could see that on my peripheral vision, and I knew that he had her on the phone, and I did need to speak with her just for a minute, just to talk with her. And so Taylor took over for a minute, and I went and talked with her. But yeah, that was the distraction of a lifetime. The damage was horrible, horrible. But the roof stayed on the house. I'm going to find the guy that put the roof on that house and buy him a slab of ribs down here.
Yes.
I mean, he did it. The engineering was done right because so many other houses lost the roof, and the roof goes away, the walls go away, and you're in a hotel for a year while they're rebuilding your house. But I'll never forget the kindness of these men and women that just showed up. I'll get emotional thinking about it a day later. They came out of nowhere with heavy equipment to start getting trees off the house and to be able to pull back in and restore some semblance of order. And they didn't want any money. They just came to help. And that is so cool to see that. I will never forget the kindness those people showed. And that's what I'd like to do for somebody else one day.
Pay it forward.
Right, exactly.
Well, I think we need to dig in.
I do too.
So, because I go to a lot of the games, so I've seen you on the Jumbotron. Are you at the game when that gets filmed?
I have to be at every game,
Okay.
even on a sunny day. There's a lot of reasons for that. If the weather's bad, I go on the radio network, and there's a lot of things I have to do. But mainly it's for Coach Saban.
Okay.
He wants to see me, like, he talked about heat levels, humidity, wind, all these things that nobody thinks about in a football game, but it's a big deal when they're planning, making a game plan. Of course, we talk during the week, but he likes me being there. He's old school. He don't text. He don't do that. I mean, he wants to talk to you. So I'm there at every single home game. And I've only stopped one game for Lightning, I think, over the last 15 years. But he called me from the field down there one day. He was mad. I told him the rain was going to stop at 2:30. Kickoff, and it was 2:15. It was still drizzling. And by the grace of God, it stopped by 2:30.
I go safe and painted it. Well, James Spann, it has fulfilled a lifelong dream of mine for me to share a plate of ribs and some banana pudding with you. So I appreciate you stopping by and visiting and just learning more about you and your journey and just sharing those wonderful Mr. Bishop stories with us today.
This is an honor. This is a special place for me, and it's always an honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.